Hi everyone, welcome to After Class with Ballet for All,
a podcast by two passionate adult ballerinas about all things adult ballet related.
and some random thoughts in between.
We're so glad you're here.
So grab your water bottle
Or a cup of coffee.
and join us for a quick chat after class. Welcome to episode 2 of having our lovely Stacy in our podcast. The first episode we introduced Stacy, how she got into ballet, the story, which is really interesting. And now this episode, Stacy, I want to say that I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Miss Elena. It's my pleasure and honor to be here with you all. So thank you for having me.
So lovely to have you. Hannah and I were very excited with this next part, and we plan to do it even earlier, this podcast, and we are so glad that we didn't record before your presentation on the stage. I don't want to spoil everything. We're going to get there. But I'm so glad the episode is happening now, so we can actually get to know the entire process, how you went to stage. So my first question will be, how did you move to New York? Why did you take the decision? And how was the process on auditioning to the steps? And that's why. Yeah. So tell us more about that.
I had been, as we talked in the prior episode, doing online instruction primarily, along with in-person intensives along the way. 2023 was really a year where I delved into intensive work. So I attended the 3 intensives that I did. Amy Novinsky's intensive in Philly, and then I did the Orlando Ballet adult intensive. I did the Ducon intensive, which was in Maryland. And at that particular intensive, I met so many people who were like me. They were just like me. They were avid ballerinas. They had either danced when they were younger, maybe not. Maybe they started later in life, and they just loved ballet, passionate about ballet. One person in particular, Heather Parley, she's amazing. She's my ballet bestie, I call her, here in New York. She came to the intensive and she told me her story. And she had left her regular job in retail and always wanted to dance and had never, and came to New York. She ended up becoming the retail manager of the Block store here in New York City, and dancing, doing all of her adult dancing with Alvin Ailey. So I was really impressed by this and said, well, if she can do it, well, why can't I do it? I'm sure I could figure something out. So my wheels started to turn, and I just felt like it was really time for me to make a shift in my life personally. And I had no idea where I was going. So I had all these cities, that I thought I could go. And I'm a nurse by profession. We all have to have what we call our day job. So we have to pay the bills. So I started sort of looking in several states. I had targeted San Francisco. Kathy Mata is there with Alonzo Lines Ballet. She has an amazing company there. Philly, of course, I had been to, amazing adult community. And then I said, well, why not? I'll just try New York. I mean, I'm not going to end up in New York. I mean, I won't make it. It'll just try it. So I started to research programs that were conservatory style, but did not require the level of talent and age restriction, which is, a very real thing. And I found that Steps on Broadway, along with several other programs, there are other programs in the city that do this as well, have independent study programs that are international. So students can come and study internationally on a student visa, but you can also be domestic as well. So I reached out to the program directors at 2 programs. I actually applied to Steps on Broadway and Broadway Dance Center, and I had to audition. Steps requires an audition, so you can do it by Zoom. And of course, I'm like, yay, virtual. I'm in my own environment. I don't have to be around anybody. And then I made a critical decision at that point that it really was a rite of passage for me to come to the city and audition for this spot. And so I did. It was amazing. And when you talk about transitioning, I also had to transition with a job. And the stars just aligned for me when I came for my audition. There was a veterans, and I shared prior as well that I'm Army Nurse Corps veteran. There was a job, a fair, and it occurred on the day before my audition. So I was able to like come in, go to the job fair. I'm in a cab on my way to the fair, and my liaison calls me in the cab and says, "No, I need you to go to this spot. The senior director wants to interview for this amazing job." And I tell the cabbie, "Don't go there. I need you to go there." I spent 20 minutes and I got the job. So I have an amazing nursing job here in the city. And as I was on my bus ride home, and I opened my email, and the director of STEPS program had already emailed me and said, "Congratulations." And I was
God.
like, you could have literally put me on the Fame episode when they all got their letter, because I was like, "Oh my God, I got it." This girl next to me is looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, "I'm so sorry, but I just got accepted to STEPS." And she probably doesn't even know what I'm talking about. It's complete crazy. But I felt like I was 19 again. I felt like I was 18 again.
Oh,
And it's such a blessing, because who gets to, we don't always get to reach back with such fervor. You can take a class, we can do these things, but I have been truly blessed in an extraordinary way by God and the universe in this pursuit of mine. And so there I was. Now I got accepted. I hadn't gotten the job right away, but I had to wait for that and then begin to move. And I got the job and had a 3-week timeline to move. So I threw all my stuff in storage, as we military people do, and found housing quickly. That was total grace. I live around the corner from STEPS, which is awesome. So I'm very close, and I'm very close to my job as well. And so I very quickly moved into the city and learned the subway and, how to get here, how to get there. But that's how I transitioned into New York. And it was very fast. It was very instinctual. I knew this was where I needed to be. And I knew that I would not, as I did when I was 19, walk away from the opportunity. And whatever I had to do, I would do to make it happen. And so here I am. And I'm very, very, very humbled and grateful to be able to share the story, because I want others to know out there that anything is possible. Believe in yourself.
I remember being on the phone to Stacy, and it was like, I don't know, 2 p.m. sometimes. Here we have 18 hours difference. And I'm like, "Stacy, I'm very excited, but you need to rest. You need to have a good rest." And she's telling me, "Miss Yelena, I did this audition for a step. And Miss Yelena, I'm moving. And Miss Yelena," and I'm like, "Stacy, everything is happening so quick, and I'm proud, but I'm a little bit concerned. You need to rest." And she's like, "I'm resting, but I'm fine. I have too much energy, and I can do it." I'm like, "I know you can do it, but slow down. It will happen." And it did happen. And it's so much true. It was so much stress, because I remember we were doing like 2 classes in the week online, and then you were still working, and you were moving, and you were doing the auditions, and I was like, "Stacy, you need to have a good rest." It's true. It's definitely happening.
It's so true.
But it was so excited. Like, you couldn't believe how everything was just lining up for you. And it was just the perfect time with the perfect experiences all happening at once.
I just, that journey time, that whole transition time, I think it was from, I don't know, it was like October. And then I was here by November 26th. So it was like a very short time from audition to plan to this to that. Miss Yelena, she would always tell me that you have to rest. And I'm like, I know, I have to rest. And she'd always be checking, and she'd be the first one I would let know. And I'm just so eternally grateful, because it's that cheerleading in the background that keeps you moving forward despite yourself. And that's what we have to do. Despite ourselves, we have to get out of the way of ourselves. And really, when others believe in you, like you all have believed in me, I carry that forward with me. And I say, this art for all of us is bigger than just ourselves.
Man, I was like tearing up when you were talking about getting your acceptance to the STEPS program. I feel like Yelena was too. We were like looking at each other on Zoom and I was like, is she crying too? Because I'm definitely starting to cry. Because I think what's so beautiful about your story, Stacy, is like it kind of like flies in the face and like contradicts this narrative that we hear so often in ballet, where if you didn't go for it as a kid, your window has passed. Like it's too late. And I think what you're doing, it just shows that you can still achieve these beautiful dreams as an adult, because I think that is so commonly the narrative in ballet. It's like you either went for it when you were a kid and you were, pre-professional by the time you were 16 and you were in a company by the time you were 18, or nothing at all. And like, I just love hearing your story that, as I think you said in the first episode, 54 years old, like you're achieving these incredible dreams that so many of us would think we couldn't do that now. And like, I just love that your story just contradicts that and shows. And like, I feel like for every one person that does something like this, it's like you're paving the way for the people behind you, to make the next person, maybe someone listening to this episode is going to do something like what you did, just because they heard your story, similar to how you heard the story from your friend at the intensive and then you didn't. It kind of has this like chain reaction effect. And I hope that over time it just like shifts the narrative and like shifts the reality of adults getting to still do these really beautiful things within ballet. And that doesn't have to be over, when you turn 18. But one thing I would love to hear more about, just because I haven't had experience with a program like this, is can you kind of like talk us through what a normal week in your life looks like doing the STEPS program? Like what is your normal kind of Monday through, I don't know if you're dancing 5 days a week, but like what's your normal weekly schedule for STEPS?
Sure. Yeah, I would love to. So this particular program is very flexible, which was really important for me being a nurse. Like I had to be able to work around that schedule. And so you have to take it. It's required that you take 48 classes a month, which averages about 12 a week. So it's pretty daunting when you don't do this. And let me tell you, when I first came, it was just, wow, my body was in shock. If Yelena knows, you all know, I suffered a knee injury. Like I had it in the physio department, it was a lot on the body, but, so that averages to about 12 classes a week if you split it up that way and you have the flexibility to do it how you like. Ideally, when I'm off of work completely, I work at night shift. So I say that only to let people know out there, like you can have a regular job and you can do these things. It takes an extreme amount of determination and dedication because of how many days you don't want to go. You're tired. You just can't. You're saying, oh my goodness, another class. But it's that determination to keep going, right? Because this is what we came here for. And you'll hear me say, many people, I came to dance, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And you really just get in that mindset. So and I loved Hannah's comments about, you either did this when you were very young and you were in a conservatory or a company or not. But I have, really taken hold of this program, as have my counterparts, my colleagues, other dancers who are in the program, who are of all ages, all levels. I mean, everyone has their story, but I dance full time. I mean, you have to maintain the program. There's an attendance requirement. You have to fulfill that attendance requirement in order to be successful, or you would, they would question your ability to continue. Typically on a day off, I take 4 to 5 classes a day. That's kind of a lot. I think you really have to just gauge what's good for you, because you definitely don't want to get injured. I have built up to that I initially started with 2 classes a day, build up to 3 classes a day. But typically when I am not working at all, I will take at least 4 classes a day. And I'll usually try to take 2 classes back to back, and then I get a little break, even if it's just a half hour. And then I go into my evening segment, and sometimes I have longer breaks in between. I can't say it enough. You have to rest. You have to rest. And I get that from Miss Elena. She's like drilled that into me. But I have seen it here. I'm a different dancer when I show up rested.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a different dancer when I've recovered. I'm a different dancer when I have stretched beforehand and after, or roll, using I do a lot with rolling.
So in the first episode, you alluded to being involved in a production of Cinderella. Can you tell us about this experience? Like maybe kind of start with finding out about the audition, like what that process was like. And then I know you've since actually done a performance. So we would love to just hear about that, because kind of like I was saying earlier, it's so rare to hear of opportunities for adults to get to perform. And yeah, I think it's just something that people would love a window into.
Absolutely. I would love to. First of all, I can't say it enough how blessed I am to have even been able to do the performance. It was such an amazing I actually heard about it was strange. The audition flyer was posted at Steps, and I didn't look because I don't go to that wall because I don't see myself as like audition worthy. So I just never look. But I walked by one day and I said, oh, look, there's the flyer. This is after I was in the production. But a friend from the Ducon Ballet Intensive who lives several blocks from me, which is so funny how the world's all connected, right? Another friend. This isn't, so we were all kind of connected. She said, oh, I thought you might be interested in this. So I got it. And then I passed it on to my other, my Ducon friend, Inspiration, and we decided to go together. So this was good because in the Army, we say you love a battle buddy. The auditions were down at New York City Center. So that was an experience. And I really approached it like, it's an experience. I'm not going to get it. It's just an experience. I'm not even going to stress it. I want to experience an audition. That's what I'm going to do. And I didn't know who was auditioning us. I didn't know who, what, where, when. I had never been to City Center. And so we did. Audition-wise, it was very straightforward and very brief. I think it's very interesting in New York. Like, they see it, they know if you can do it. They basically can tell in minutes if you're able to execute whatever you have to do, and that's that. So we went to the audition. Then the final casting was posted, and I made it. So I was just like,
Yay!
I can't believe this. I'm going to be in a Cinderella production with Isabella Boylston, no less, from ABT, because the sponsorship, Misty Copeland sponsored philanthropically, and Isabella Boylston appeared as Cinderella. We started rehearsals, and that was pretty daunting because I didn't know how I was going to factor this into my STEPS program and work. I really had no idea how this was going to happen. I mean, it's just really difficult. So I said, that's okay. I'm going to make it happen. It's just going to happen. I'm just going to roll with it. It's going to happen. And I rolled with it and it happened. And so we rehearsed weekly, either at the Joffrey Ballet, which was so exciting because I was like, I'm at the Joffrey. We see all these places our whole life, and it was just amazing. And so we rehearsed there weekly, and then we rehearsed in Connecticut with our Connecticut counterparts as well several times. Dress rehearsal, you go to the costume shop, you get your costume. It's just like, this is like so surreal. And I'm like, this is amazing. I never thought I'd ever experience this. And then, show day comes and you have dress rehearsal, and here's Isabella Boylston, and we're doing the ballroom scene we did the ballroom scene. It was a dream for me to meet Misty Copeland, and I had the opportunity to meet her as well. And it was very humbling, overwhelming, and life-changing.
So incredible.
And so I had an opportunity to express to her as an adult ballerina how much her work is so important to us, and we just adore her out here. And so it was life-changing. The performance, I came to New York to dance. Okay, so I'm dancing. But what I've been able to, what I've been given as gifts here have been so overwhelmingly tremendous. Like, I'm just so blessed.
Yeah, like what an incredible experience to get to have. And yeah, thank you for sharing.
We're so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so, so much. It's really my honor, and I'm really out here for all of us. You know, I'm out here for all of us. And my new expression is for the adult ballerinas out there: we are the aesthetic. We are the aesthetic. And, you know, just it's very I'm here for all of us. That's really I walk a path that hopefully I can help pave a way or demonstrate that others can follow and gain some insight from. And I'm always happy to share more detail if some of your viewers need more information, or, you know, how to access different programs here in the city and that sort of thing.
I think we should get that put on a t-shirt, that like on the front it says adult ballerina and on the back it says we are the aesthetic.
We should do that.
I love it.
I'm like, I want that on a shirt. If anyone would be interested in buying a shirt with that, send us a message, and if we can get enough people together, I will personally figure out how to get an order of shirts made that say that on them, because that is like, it's a great, I don't know, I'm just like, man, I feel like I would wear that to class and I'd be like feeling myself when I walked into class in a shirt like that.
Yeah, I love it. I'm in for a shirt. I'm in for a couple of shirts, because when I love something, I buy a few of it because I wear it all the time.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
That's so
great.
awesome.
Yeah, it's a great like motivational phrase. I love it. We have kind of a fun question to close out the episode. Yelena, you want to ask this one?
Oh, well, yes. I think I know the answer to it, but
Yeah,
let's
me
see.
too.
If you could have a coffee date with a dancer, or I don't know, if you want to go dancing or whatever with them, if you were going to choose a person to have that moment with, who will be and why?
It would be Misty Copeland. And I say that because I have been following her since I was aware of my own reigniting my love and passion for ballet in 2020. And when I started the journey, I went to a bookstore and I purchased her book. And so I have just followed her all this time, and I wanted to meet her. That was always known. Like, I always said, oh, I would like to meet her. And now that I've met her, her spirit and her presence are so awe-inspiring to me that if I could ever have a cup of coffee with her and just hear her story in person, get advice as a ballerina who had to face many of the same struggles that I faced when I was young. And there were spaces that you couldn't enter if you didn't look a certain way, if you didn't have a certain body, if you didn't have a certain talent. And if you just were not in a certain social class, I mean, there were just places you could not enter. And she has broken down so many of those barriers for all of us, no matter what our limitation is. I adore her. I have adored her from when she hit the map and I re-hit the map. And so that would be my person.
You're going to be someone's Misty Copeland, I think, Stacy, just from your own journey. Like, people are going to look at you and be inspired the way that you look at her and are inspired. So keep doing what you're doing.
Oh,
you're inspiring all of us.
thanks.
I'm so proud of you. So proud that you're part of our Ballet for All family. So fun. And Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule. As we now know, I don't know, maybe Elena knew, but I didn't realize like how many classes you're taking in addition to being a nurse, which is also a very taxing job. And so, yeah, you're a superhero. So thank you for fitting us into your schedule. And it's just been such a pleasure to have you. So thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. My absolute honor and pleasure. You are my ballet family. I love you all so, so much. And your spirit is with me here in New York. And I will see you all soon in class.
Yay!
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to After Class with Ballet for All.
Join the community on YouTube and Instagram, or come dance with us, our weekly Zoom classes for adult ballerinas like you.
Links included in the episode description. Special thank you to our sponsors.
See you next time after class. Podcast produced by Mission Bridge Media.